Let's schedule a quick
You
meeting.
know that moment when someone says, "Let's schedule a quick meeting," and your soul immediately leaves your body? Yeah, that wasn't a meeting request. That was a hostage situation. If you'd rather fight a bear than sit through another PowerPoint presentation where Bob from accounting explains pivot tables for 45 minutes, welcome. You're about to feel very seen. Because hating meetings doesn't make you lazy. It doesn't make you antisocial. And it definitely doesn't make you a bad team player. Your brain is just wired to value something most people waste without even noticing. Time. Quick note before we dive in. This video is for educational purposes only. If you're struggling with serious workplace stress, anxiety, or burnout, please reach out to a qualified mental health professional. This isn't a substitute for therapy, just some psychology that might help you understand yourself better. All right, let's get into it. Here's what nobody tells you about people who hate meetings. You're not antisocial. You're not difficult. You're not a team player. You just understand something that most people are completely blind to. Your time has a cost. And meetings? They're charging interest. Every hour you spend nodding along to discussions that could have been an email is an hour you're not doing the work that actually matters. And your brain? It notices. It keeps score. And it's exhausted from pretending this makes sense. So let's talk about why your brain rejects meetings like a body rejects a bad organ transplant. Here's the thing. Your brain is focused on output, not input. Most people experience meetings as collaboration, connection, teamwork. You experience them as interruptions. Psychologists call this task switching cost, and it's brutal. Every time you're pulled from deep work into a meeting, your brain needs about 23 minutes to fully recover its focus. According to research from the University of California, Irvine, it takes an average of 23 minutes and 15 seconds to return to a task after an interruption. Let that sink in. That quick 15-minute stand-up? It didn't cost you 15 minutes. It cost you 38 minutes. And if you have 4 meetings in a day, your brain never actually gets into deep work at all. You're not working. You're recovering from being interrupted. People who hate meetings aren't lazy. They've just done the math. And the math says meetings are theft. While everyone else is in the conference room debating which font to use, you're sitting there calculating exactly how much of your life you'll never get back. Your brain sees meetings as obstacles between you and actual achievement. And here's the kicker. You're probably more productive than the people who love meetings, because you understand that doing nothing is sometimes more valuable than doing busy work. But then there's something else happening, something most people miss entirely. You can spot performative communication from a mile away. You know what really happens in most meetings? Someone talks just to be heard. Someone else repeats what was already said, but louder. Someone asks a question they already know the answer to just to look engaged. And someone hijacks the entire conversation to tell a story nobody asked for. And you're sitting there wondering why this couldn't have been a bullet point email. Research from Harvard Business School found that 71% of senior managers said meetings are unproductive and inefficient. But here's the twist. They keep scheduling them anyway. Why? Because meetings make people feel productive, even when they're not. It's called productivity theater, the illusion of work. And your brain rejects it viscerally. You don't hate communication, you hate the performance of communication. The corporate theater, where everyone pretends that talking about doing the work is the same as doing the work. Most people need meetings to feel like they're contributing. You need results to feel like you're contributing. And sitting in a room for an hour debating the wording of an email? That's not contribution. That's purgatory. You're not difficult. You just refuse to confuse motion with progress. Now here's where it gets interesting. Your energy economy operates differently, and most people don't understand this at all. Meetings aren't just stealing your time, they're draining your energy. Psychologist Adam Grant found that people with high task orientation experience social situations, especially mandatory ones, as cognitively and emotionally expensive. Translation? Being forced to engage in a meeting when your brain is screaming, "I need to focus," is like running a marathon while someone's asking you to solve math problems. Extroverts recharge from social interaction. You recharge from focused solitude. Every meeting is a withdrawal from your energy bank. And unlike extroverts who get a refund from chatting, you're spending with no return on investment. So when you leave a 2-hour meeting and feel completely exhausted despite doing nothing, that's not laziness. That's your nervous system processing the fact that it had to be on for people when it wanted to be on for work. And here's what's wild. Studies show that people who prefer asynchronous communication, emails, documents, recorded messages, are often better collaborators than people who prefer live meetings. Why? Because they think before they communicate. They organize their thoughts. They respect other people's time. Meetings reward the loudest voice in the room. Asynchronous communication rewards the clearest thinker. And you're built for clarity, not volume. But let's clear something up right now. You don't hate people. You don't hate collaboration. You don't even hate all meetings. You hate unnecessary meetings. The ones that should have been an email. The ones where 5 people sit in silence while 1 person types. The ones that could have been solved with a Slack message. According to a study by Atlassian, the average employee attends 62 meetings per month and considers half of them a waste of time. But here's the thing. You don't just consider them a waste of time. You feel it physically. Your brain experiences unnecessary meetings as borderline offensive. Not because you're arrogant, but because you have a finely tuned sense of value. And when something wastes your time, your brain sounds the alarm. Most people accept meetings as part of work culture. You see them as a design flaw in work culture. And honestly, you're not wrong. The 40-hour work week wasn't designed for knowledge workers. Meetings weren't designed for deep thinkers. Open offices weren't designed for people who need silence to create. Modern work culture is optimized for extroverted collaboration. And you're optimized for introverted excellence. That's not a flaw. That's a different operating system. One that the world desperately needs but constantly undervalues. Here's what really bothers you about meetings, though. It's not just the wasted time. It's the quiet frustration of knowing you could be doing something meaningful right now. Something that actually moves the needle. Something that leaves you feeling accomplished instead of drained. You don't hate teamwork. You hate being forced to prove you're a team player by sitting through rituals that help nobody. And the hardest part? Nobody gets it. When you suggest a meeting could be an email, you're called difficult When you don't engage in small talk before the meeting starts, you're called cold. When you ask if your attendance is really necessary, you're called uncommitted. But you're not any of those things. You're just someone who's allergic to wasting the one resource you can never get back: your life. And maybe that makes you uncomfortable to work with. Maybe that makes you seem intense. Maybe that makes you the person who doesn't love the team culture. But deep down, you know the truth. Your hatred of meetings isn't a weakness. It's integrity in a world that mistakes busy for productive, talking for progress, and presence for contribution. You're not broken. You're just refusing to participate in a system that values looking productive over being productive. And honestly, that's exactly what makes you valuable. So the next time someone schedules a meeting that could have been an email, remember, you're not antisocial. You're not difficult. You're not a team player. You're just someone whose brain refuses to confuse motion with meaning. And in a world full of people performing productivity, that's not a flaw. That's rare. One more thing before you go. If you're feeling completely overwhelmed by workplace stress, constant meetings, or burnout, that's bigger than just personality preference. Please reach out to a mental health professional or your HR department for support. Your well-being matters more than any meeting ever could. Now tell me, are you team meetings are essential or team this could have been an email? Drop your answer in the comments. And if this video made you feel seen, hit subscribe. We break down the psychology of everyday work life that nobody talks about.